I'm turning to. You are my eternal friend who cares with joy for your friends who wants to fill them there's but one way with all the requests to be for the friend. Pray raise a prayer to the Creator. Now we have the possibility to simply breach through all worlds. The King will open the gate if you break through for the friend. If you break, so your friends will be ahead. If you cry out and pray for the friends, and He will hear such a prayer He asks for. He demands do it. We now have a prayer. Before a prayer we will read it and understand the power in such a thing, that every action needs to end with a prayer, friends. A prayer before a prayer. May it please you, our Lord God of our fathers, who hears the outcry of please and listens to the voice of the prayers of His people Israel, with mercy to prepare our hearts, establish our thoughts, and send our prayers and our mouths. Do lend your ear to the voice of the prayer of your servants who pray to you with an outcry and a broken spirit. And ye merciful God, with thy great mercy and graciousness, pardon, forgive, and atone for us and for the whole of your people, house of Israel, all that we have sinned, perverted, condemned, and transgressed before you. It is known to you that it is not at all with rebellion and deceit that we have defied you and the words of your law and your commandments. Rather it is for the perpetual unyielding burning inclination within us which brings us to the lust of this lowly world and its vanities. It consistently baffles our minds even where we wish to pray before you and beg for our souls. Time and time again it confounds our thoughts with its PLO, and we cannot prevail over it, for our minds and reasons have grown so weak that the strength to endure has withered from the troubles and the hardships and the length of time. You, O merciful and gracious God, do to us as you have promised us through your trusted one. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Our sages said, although he is not seemly and is not worthy, for this is our way to be good to the bad and to the good. Our sighs, our sorrow, and our conversations of our inability to bring ourselves closer to your work, to truly cleave on to you, are all known to you. Woe unto our souls, indeed woe unto us. Our Father in heaven, now do awaken your great and gracious mercy upon us banish and root out our evil inclination from within us, and scold it so it will depart us and will not stray us from your work. No evil thought rise in our hearts when we are awake, and in the night dream too, and especially when we stand in prayer before you, or when we study your law, and while we engage in your commandments. Let our thoughts be truly clear, lucid, sound, and as strong as your good will for us, to awaken our hearts and the hearts of all of Israel, your people, to unite with you in earnest truth and with love, to sincerely serve you as it pleases your throne, and do fix your faith in our hearts forever and ever, and let your faith be tied to our hearts as a stake that will not fall, and remove all the screens that separate between us and you. Our Father in heaven, save us from all the failures and the errors. Do not leave us, do not abandon us, and do not shame us. Be with our mouths when we speak, with our hands when we work, and with our hearts when we think. Grant us, our Father in heaven, merciful God, with devoting our hearts, our thoughts, our words, and our actions, and all our movements and feelings, those that are known and those that are not known to us, the revealed and the concealed, to you alone, sincerely, without any ill thought. Purify our hearts and sanctify thus upon us pure water, and purify us with your love and compassion. Plant your love and fear in our hearts forever, with no end, at all times and at all places, when we walk, when we lay, and when we rise. Let the spirit of your always burn within us. We always rely on you, your greatness, your love, the fear of you, and your law written and oral, revealed and concealed, and your commandments, to unite with your mighty and awful name, and guard us from prejudice, pride, anger, and pedantry, sadness, gossip, and other vices, and from anything that lessens your holy and pure work which we so care. For impart the spirit of your holiness upon us, so we may cleave on to you and crave you always more, and raise us from degree to degree, so when we may come to the merit of our holy fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, may their virtue help us, and you will hear the voice of our prayers. We will always be answered when we pray unto you for us, or for any one of your people, Israel, one or many. Rejoice and be proud of us, and we will bear fruit above and root below. Remember not our sins, and especially the sins of our youth, as King David said, remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. Do turn our transgressions and sins to merits, and always impart upon us from the world of repentance thoughts of wholeheartedly returning unto you, to correct that which we have blemished in your holy and pure names. Do save us from envy of one another, and let no envy for others come into our hearts, nor our envy of others. Rather let our hearts see the virtues of our friends, and not their faults, and let us speak to each other in a way that is seemly and worthy before you, and let no hatred rise in one towards another. God forbid. Brace our ties of love to you, as it is known to you that all will be for bringing contentment unto you. This is our foremost aim, and should we not have the wit to aim our hearts to you will teach us, so we may truly know the aim of your good will, and for all that merciful and gracious God we pray before you to accept our prayers with mercy and good will. Our men would that be so. Dear friends, in the first part of the lesson we're going to watch a recorded lesson from the 18th of October 2022 on the topic of On the Verge of Lishma. The lesson is an hour and 45 or 48 minutes, and then we will have a study between friends, the study of 10 forgot. Hello, we're in the lesson on the topic of On the Verge of Lishma. We'll be reading selected except from the sources. You can find study material in our website Kabbalah group info, or in the Arot system, or click on Send a Question. Pay attention again, anyone who wants to ask a question during the lesson, make sure in the settings of your computer your external microphone is connected, not the webcam mic or the microphone, or the microphone of your headphones. Get just not the one built into your computer. So anyone who wants to ask a question, hold the microphone close to your mouth and ask directly on the verge of Lishma. Please, I'm very happy at the end of the holidays we've reached the verge of Lishma, meaning that most of us understand that this is the degree we're in. We have to make efforts in order to collect all the forces, all the tendencies, yearnings, in order to rise to that degree. Of course, it's not within our power. We can do it only the condition that we receive it from above, but to help it to prepare ourselves for the effort, for the request, for a prayer to convince the Creator we are worthy of receiving from Him this exalted gift, really the only gift, which is Lishma. This is what we need to do, the preparation and the reception of Lishma. Let us hope that we will come to it as quickly as possible, come to it together, all of us as much as possible, and each shall help his friend, because we need a great deal of power for it, and in each and every one there's a special power, and we need everyone, men, women, everyone, both veteran students and new students. Everyone, let's study these verses and try as much as possible not to let go of what we learned before on the matter of Lishma. We had powerful excerpts. We're very excited about them. We shouldn't forget any of those things. Rising to the degree of Lishma demands from us a decision, or a group that's prepared for everything, only in order to reach Lishma. On the verge of selected excerpt. The sources except one. B. Concerning for her sake. In order for a person to obtain Lishma, one needs an awakening from above, as it is an illumination from above, and it is not for the human mind to understand. Rather, he who tastes knows. It is said about this, taste and see that the Lord is good, meaning anyone who's not yet tasting cannot imagine. It's so disconnected from our nature, our life our feelings, yeah, as much as you fantasize about it, try to depict it, we will never know what it is. Therefore, what does he say? Because of this, upon assuming the burden of the kingdom of heaven, one needs it to be in utter completeness, meaning only to bestow and not at all to receive. Meaning this is what we need to forcefully try and hold ourselves to give, to bestow, to connect, to come out of ourselves, to forget about ourselves, to disconnect from ourselves and not receive anything as little as possible on us by that we are advancing to lish. And if a person sees that the organs do not agree with this view, he has no other choice but prayer, to pour out his heart to the Creator to help him make his body consent to enslaving itself to the Creator. That's what we need to do, the first stage, and afterwards to enter deeper and deeper and check where else do I disagree. The idea that the Creator will fill all of me, all my thoughts, my desires, my actions, my intentions, for me to agree to follow him, to be drawn to him, to do anything needed, my brain, my heart, with all my muscles, until all my bones shall declare it, to do everything only for that everything else is not important to me. I'm willing to leave everything only in order to reach Lishwar. If a person constantly tries to aim himself in that direction, then you may say that he's already on the way. You said at the beginning, he spoke about the decision that we need to make. We have to be full of drive, urgency, to want to let go of everything and not to receive anything. At your friends and see how they are already in it. Imagine just how much it seems to you that they are in it. Envy. Then try to come closer to them, to be like them. We can learn this from any person without exceptions. So this is the first thing. We'll start from that I'm surrounded by people, I'm among people that are all drawn to the Creator, and they wish to deliver themselves to all the actions, the thoughts, the desires that the Creator wants to give them. They are in soul devotion to him, wish to connect with them, to be incorporated in them. In this group simply disappear, their hide there. So I could also advance towards adhesion in the Creator together with them. Central secret here is the focus on the friends, on adhering to them, and this is the secret of returning to myself, to my calculation. If I wish to be adhered to the Creator, then I must pass myself through the connection with the friends. I have no other solution, otherwise I will always be dependent on me, tied to me. Lie they remain inside of me, to come out of myself towards the Creator, to aim myself at the Creator, to approach him. This is possible only if I'm connected with the friends. Moscow 6. What is that same sensation of faith above reason that I want to be adhered to in them? There it's in my attitude. Do I perceive it as I perceive them? You need to come out of your will to receive and be in the will to bestow. Looks like you're rising above your nature, above your ego, above your mal, above all that. There's the quality of being. That's why it's called faith above reason. How can I do it? What is the power that takes me out of mal and raises me to being? I don't have such a power. I can ask of the Creator, but it'll be lip service, meaning it'll be just words. How I do it if through envy, and honor I'm incorporated among the friends, impressed by them. I envy them, and I wish to be like them. They appear before me. I would like to cleave to them and use the connection between us, which really depends on me as much as I wish to adhere to them. Then I will be swept behind them. I'll go with them, and therefore without society can't do it. On the contrary, res in his that I must depict myself as a zero compared to the others, and more such ideas, and so only in this way it's better that I will simply be carried behind them. They'll be able to give me the strength, the power. They pull me, and I follow them like a child near the grown-ups, and it doesn't depend on how much they know or how veteran they are. Rather, it depends only on the connection, the extent to which I can imagine them as great. Why? Because I follow the power of the Creator that's in them, so to the extent that I can imagine myself as small relative to the grown-ups, so I am awakening the force of the Creator that's in them, although they themselves might not know. It's like if he will anal himself towards his students, he will advance, and that's what we need to do. We have no other chance to reach Lishma. That's the only thing. From that we may open ourselves up, develop all kinds of tendencies, spiritual laws of society, and in this way we advance, and there's no choice. We can revolve around it for many years until we finally reach necessity. Only LMA, and only in this way that we are discussing can help us reach spirituality. Everything's before me now. What do I need to do? See, you have to repeat these articles about the society and read them very closely to what you say. It's as if you never heard those articles, never read them more. I'm sorry to hear that. All one. Good morning, dear. Our morning course each will help his oh, here it is this. I'll formulate it other way concerning what we're talking about right now. We awaken the dawn, and not the dawn awakens. That's so. That what does it mean that the awakening comes from above to reach Lishma in general? Whatever we receive, every moment it awakens above. There nothing here that awakens for us. Many verses, it everything begins with the Creator. We need only to understand that whatever we have comes from the Creator. What we have is what the Creator wants us to have right now. To look at it critically and decide, is this what we need in order to advance towards the Creator, towards aiding in Him? That's it. So what do we do? Our inner 10. That's so that the Creator will awaken us. We want to connect in such a way that we will feel ourselves connected to one desire, and in this desire become closer to one another. More and more we feel that this is the desire of the upper one, and desire of the upper one will understand it, will locate as there of be faith above reason, and in this way we will cleave to this power, and it will raise us higher and higher. What's the significance if the body does not agree to give and not receive? That we need to reach this state. The meaning is that we are rising to the degree of bestow, the degree of be equivalence of form, the first degree of equivalence of form, perhaps with the Creator. French question from friend. I feel all the time that our actions in the T, in our prayer or in our organization of the 10, that it's all of my own forces. How do I do an action of true ball that comes from the Creator within the tent? You will reach a state where you wish to truly be in a certain action, which is to feel what it's like to have at the force of ball, the world of ball, and you'll feel that you have no connection to it whatsoever, and then you'll need the connection with the Creator to help you to flow in. You fill you with knowledge, with intention, with desire, with the actual bestow, or we have no relationship to it in the beginning. When you truly want it to happen, then you'll be ready to do anything, even against your own desire, contrary to everything you have in you, to feel, to know what is bestow coming out of oneself, and then your prayer will acquire the power of necessity, and he will receive it. You will receive it. Thank my friend is asking, can you explain what it means taste and see that the Lord is good? Yes, taste first. We can taste in accordance with any quality of the Creator, that we will receive quality of bestow, and after we receive the quality of bestow, it clothes in us, it fills us to some extent. Then we'll feel the flavors pass on our desires, our thoughts and intentions, and then it says taste and see the Lord is good. The first have to try and do everything that's needed for it. This is the action of connection, the action of rising above us and prayer, in contradiction to what we read here. Rash says that another article, that we can't wait for the Creator to give me from above for our work in sanctity. So how do we settle both these approaches? So what I didn't understand. The question seems a contradiction 180 degrees from what his father wrote, that one seems to write to wait for an awakening from above, and the other not to wait. I didn't say we have to wait. I said we have to be drawn to it, pray for it, try to keep all these conditions in order to come to Lishma. He write here that for a person To achieve he needs awakening from above. Right, how do we get to an awakening from below, from above? Sorry, yes, by prayer. Course, what will cause me, I mean if I'm a state of descent, of fall, what will even cause me to that connect with the friends, receive from them, keep the laws. Rubbish is writing about in the social writings. I'm willing to hear all the questions, because specifically the most difficult questions come to a person awaken in him when he's speaking of Lishma, because he can't stand it, can't tolerate our nature, is completely in opposition to, and I'm willing to listen and gradually solve the problems to see how opposite it is to us. How can we reach connection, adhesion with the friends when the adhesion itself is concealed from me? How do we get to this? Jealousy, try to look at them and see how much they are drawn to Lishma, to bestow to connection, how much there's perhaps something in them for that, and in that see how they are greater than you and more successful than you. You have to uncover the force of envy together with it. You have to feel towards them honor. If they are bigger, then we have to feel a feeling of respect towards the big ones, not the self-respect, but respect to them, and from that again and again think that the condition that Bam is explaining to us, not only him, all the Kabbalists explained to us, that spiritual force we can receive only in the 10, only in the society that here in we have no other way. Therefore, like it or not, I must daily, let's say, as if I'm going to work, I have to try daily to connect with the friends, to enter them, to come close to. Then this is my spiritual work. I must do it, but I'm told that the friends are in ATN, and I try to hold on to this as much as possible, but my ego wants to grasp on something too and try to get in somehow, like try to hold on to this at they're the greatest of the generation and be even happy of this. But if I try to awaken envy, I seem to let a point of the grasp, because the ego doesn't see it, it's concealed. Try to depict yourself how great they are and how they are nevertheless, and feeling a more subtle feeling, a higher feeling compared to you. Try, we'll see. Either way, there are many states in life for you envy people, so try to awaken the degree of envy in them. Friends is the only that is constructive. Okay. Good morning, our world. CLE question from German 8. They can't ask the question themselves, what taste leads to awakening from above? Taste, a flavor that brings us an awakening from above, is a deficiency for spiritual advancement. We spoke frequently about playing in a game. I can't hear what you're saying. Speak loudly. See how I'm exerting here. Understand the question. Of course, we have to act until we reach the true state, even the true state, wherever we reach a certain degree. In order to reach a higher degree, we need to act as if we are in a higher degree. In this way, we climb from one state to another. Any state we're in right now is called right now the present state, and if we wish to rise to a higher degree, we need to provide an awakening. For imagine as if we are on a higher level. Awaken the forces, they will continue us, awakening us and push us to a higher state, more exalted state, like children that by playing they become wiser, more understanding they grow up. So should we play with Ella, may act in mer. That's why we read articles, we talk between us, we sing, in order to imagine to ourselves what. Okay, so what is that spiritual state to which to reach? So each time have to act the higher state. The 10 such states that are higher than where we are, where you are right now, each and every one of you, and then you'll see how it will pull us or pull you forward in a moment max, and then afterwards. Or regarding this exercise of depicting the friends as is great times, it's simple, or for some people it's simple to do so, to all before the friends, to see them as great, and for others it's difficult, or with some friends that's easier. Do we start from the easiest to the hardest, or the hardest first? Both. The important thing is to try and imagine each and every friend is the greatest of their generation, the greatest of their generation, and try do it. Tea with the friends that look to you the most lowly, the smallest, the ones who are lagging most behind. Try to see them as great, the greatest in the 10, and then you will Advance Moscow 6. The desire to bestow never brings a lot, even when it seems that something is against me or is angry at me. If it's within the framework of the group, then the force of all is always one. Let's begin with die and the last point we just spoke about their friends that I'm not envious of, but I understand that everything depends on how I look at it and how I awaken my envy towards them. But how to do this, and specifically towards the one I see as the lowest, as you said, try to lament to regret the fact that they seem so lowly to you, to the extent that you see them so lowly. Focus on your ego, that paints them before you in this way. How does that bring me closer? How does that sorrow bring me closer? You are constantly looking for ways to be lower than the friends, and if you can imagine the entire group like that, not all at once, but through your work each time towards each and every friend, you feel just how much you are lower than him, and you are the lowest, the least of the entire group, and how much you would want to connect with them, to get absorbed by them, and you want them to lift you up, to take you together with them. This spiritual journey, what am I lesser than them, and what are they greater than? In everything they're more connected, they're closer to the Creator, they have more mutual connections between them, and it seems like you are actually outside of them, outside of that circle, the group. And how exactly to be envious? Who's lower? I see as lower. How is the envy? Means that you receive the correct direction on how much your egoistic desire is lying to you. Thank you. Friends, question from the friended intent: in order to enslave the body, do we need to convince the Creator that we want Lishmar? And what are we trying to convince the Creator? In the fact that every day, in every opportunity, we're going back to the conditions that Sister are telling us about LMA, what we have to do in order to attain Lishmar. Please, okay. Here have the question I'll ask. He said that there are friends who have already said that there are friends who already attained. How can we know who in order to take example from them? We don't need to know who are. They need to know who they are, but they are such friends, and we need to try and be envious. General state of envy towards their group. Next, another question from Ton 1. We can't hear. Again, there is a technical difficulty. Let's try. T4, okay. Oh, he is speaking. Yeah, okay, so we have a technical difficulty in the system because we don't hear any of the groups. Let's read the second excerpt in the meantime. Excerpt 2. The need for man's work in order to receive the Lishmar from the Creator is only in the form of and a clay, a vessel. One can never obtain the filling by himself. It is rather a gift from the Creator. However, the prayer must be a complete prayer from the bottom of their heart. This means that one knows 100% that there is no one in the world who can help him but the Creator himself. How does one know this then? No one will help him but the Creator himself. One can acquire that awareness precisely if he has exerted all the powers at his disposal, and it did not help him. One must do everything possible. One must do every possible thing in the world to obtain for the sake of their Creator. Then one can pray from the bottom of their heart, and then the Creator hears his prayer. LA, and how can I know that the Creator helps my friends reach Lishmar? How can I verify if you look at them correctly that you wish to connect with them, you wish to reach together with them? Then you begin to see how great they are, and then he begin to envy them, and he try to reach the same place as they are. Can I hope you can hear me? So what does it mean to invest all the forces of my ability, especially in the first expert? What is this agreement? Because I feel every day I need to agree, and I'm tested every day. I know this is the meaning of taking upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, we learned about it. You've heard it many times, day in day out, to take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven. That's what we need to accept. You have to put your head into it like a horse or a donkey gets all those vessels installed around his neck, and he should carry what's needed that's called like a ox to the Berber and a donkey to the load. Okay, you have any questions or and no questions? Here quality for the sake of heaven, how to imagine it friends creator does me I somehow lose myself completely between them. I have no thoughts, no aspirations, no yearnings relative to myself. First of all, please don't translate question the answers, so the questions for me from Russian. I haven't forgotten the Russian language yet, so what to do this is what's called they should be as new in your eyes that each time the question is new, no discernment, preparation and the depiction and connection, everything now. And don't get upset about this, what you heard then today you seemingly maybe today you don't understand it, it's good. The creator intentionally does this in order for us to build each time new degrees. I'll thanks, sorry for how my on camera the question is about the quality of where is the go to give only bestow to where greater for her sake begins from this, that a person makes the smallest restriction on himself and doesn't want to use his will to receive until he gives everything and receives even on the intention to bestow everything until the end of correction is all of spirituality actually be relative to the created beings. He's making himself the smallest, and this is the set of or has to be relative to the creator necessarily. That's the condition that if he's going towards LMA, then he must see to prepare himself on the path to see himself as the smallest of everyone. Last question to reach Lishma. Who's the smallest relative to the created beings? Is this already LMA? Not yet, but it's a preparation from the side of the vessels you have to the talks about the deficiency and a vessel. How do we grow together the deficiency for prayer? That I understand and hear and feel and read that without prayer we cannot attain the state of Lishma, and the state of Lishma becomes more and more desirable and necessary for me, that my entire future depends only on this, otherwise I live like a donkey and I die like a donkey and nothing remains of me. I want to attain spirituality bestowed to the creator, adhesion in the creator through connection with the created beings, that I will raise all the created beings in my CLE until the degree of the creator. It's all as a goal for me, and then I must insert myself as an ox for the burden and a donkey for the load. All right. Again, how to the attack, and the prayer creator will give us all sorts of disturbances and we will rise upon them more and more and more. How to advance? There's no problem, the creator each time arranges it for us. It works in an automatic manner. Let's sing a song and continue together. We grow. Light awakens our soul, the spark of love flashes, ego is turning to ashes. In lessons with friends we discover his hands, no lies on the path. I promise I'll cover your back where we pray for our connection. We can hear his call, we are follow in one go. We are ready to go when we step into the light of about reason, so high together we can fly above the sky. Together we grow, light awakens our soul, the spark of the flashes, ego is turning to ashes when we step into the light about reason, so high together we can fly above the sky for SS. We continue, friends. Anyone who had questions and turned off your question marks and still want to ask, you're invited to turn it back on. If you had a question and you want to ask, you're invited to turn on your question marks. I see no new questions. Continue to the next, accept or repeat the second one. Maybe repeat the number 2. We're not in the hurry, right? Says the need for man's work in order to receive the lishma from the creator is only in the form of a lack and a vessel, yet one can never obtain the feeling by himself. It is rather a gift from our creator, meaning the prayer depends on us, the fulfillment, the answer depends on the creator. However, the prayer must be a complete prayer from the bottom of the heart. This means that one knows 100% there's no one in the world who can help him but the creator himself. How does one know this? That no one will help him but the creator himself. One can acquire that awareness precisely if he has exerted all the powers at his disposal and he did not help him this, that he invested all his forces, and it didn't help them. That's a sign A. Very good and nice sign. Correct, sir. Again, does one know this, that no one will help him but the Creator himself? Yes, one can acquire that awareness precisely if he has exerted all the powers at his disposal and it did not help him. So what is rewarding from this, that he invested all his forces and didn't help him? Next, one must do every possible thing in the world to attain for the sake of the Creator, or what we call. Then one can pray from the bottom of the heart, and then the Creator hears his prayer, and then the Creator hears his prayer. All right. Okay, from a friend, what should we lack so the prayer would be complete? Connection with the friends, to make the effort to be as one man in one heart, to know that without prayer we cannot receive any correct answer, response, that we can attain anything without the prayer. Yes, then when we connect in such a manner, and it's called that we beat on, that we demand the CHV, the repentance, and then it occurs, and if we did receive it, the response, it's a sign that the demand on our part is not whole. Like he says, knowledge the person can obtain precisely if he invests all the powers in his ability, and it did not help him, that it does not help him. That's the condition. Then he can give the correct scream that opens his connection with the Creator, and it's called Lishma. He begins to receive qualities of Lishma. Is that clear? Meaning there are a few conditions here that we need to be in despair and pass it, and despair again and pass it again, and thus we reach Lishma. Is that clear? Morning, our friends. If a person feels that a new feeling was born in him, does he have to speak to the friends or hide it from them, conceal it? That's a problem. It's better not to talk about it. Better not to talk about it in the group when where everyone is working and all sorts of states. Then each one can bring one another 1,000 stories and discernments, and in this we need to understand it's very easy for us to confuse our friends. It's better that each and everyone quietly, according to how much he understands, how much he feels, go forward. I wasn't sure how to ask. No, that's a correct question, and I'm telling you correct answer. Kabbalists usually don't talk too much between them about this. Clear? Thank you. The friends are not here playing the Creator game. Does it mean that I haven't done everything I was able to do? I didn't invest enough strength be in the lesson and in all the scrutinies that we do during the time of the lesson. It's the most necessary thing for spiritual advancement. Necessary thing. T5 3. When he speaks of the prayer here, what is a prayer that is Lishma? What should a person ask for prayer? Lishma is that a person wants to reach Lishma, that he wants to receive the force of bestowal, spiritual force about delivering his power. How can a person come to give all his strength? Because the ego constantly calculates. Then he all the time is overcoming it and requesting, asking to devote himself. Question from a friend: I feel resistance to connection. Should I start asking for myself to be able to rise into the 10, or ask about the 10, or continue to depict a whole state in the even when I don't feel it? I need to depict to myself a whole state in the 10, and to request forces to adhere to the 10, to be together with them in a manner that I truly am in. Before them is that fear. How not to reach despair on the path to the complete prayer? If it doesn't help not to despair, quite simply take an example from the friends. Don't despair until the end of life. Do not despair. This work is years. So what if it's a big soul? It's a work, it takes years. A small soul is faster. How can a person come to despair of his own strength? If we constantly say and work on this point that we have to go above reason, that along with this we fall to despair and raise ourselves above reason. So how can person come to this point of the complete prayer? You constantly see it like that, as I see specifically in such a manner, ascends and descends, and then thus we reach He reaches the point where he says I can't rise above reason anymore until you scream in such a manner that the quitter says okay all right, that's called my sons have won me over. I know I've invested everything I've got, because each day I waken and I think I haven't done anything well. That's correct, you did nothing. Start now fun. One shalom rar. Hello, you hear us? Yet you always teach us that the reward for spiritual work is the work itself, but we shouldn't receive any reward, anything within our egoistic vessels. But lately, you seemingly feed our egos by constantly repeating the fact that we are about to enter the spiritual world. Is there no contradiction between the two? No contradiction. I'm only telling you that soon whoever is working strongly, who wants to reach the aspect of bestow, will receive the quality of bestow. Yes. What is the connection between when a person invested everything he is and didn't help him, and for the body to agree? And why should the body agree in the first place? The body doesn't agree, rather on the condition that it receives an illumination from above, and then it makes some inversion in him. Otherwise, it doesn't agree. Only after investing everything and not receiving no. Yes, another question. When he invests all his forces, his power, he should forget entirely from the Creator, meaning go to have such work that you ask nothing but go forward. You never forget the Creator. Rather, you either tie your next state, it depends on him, or not. But while investing all the forces I've got, even when I'm asking, it doesn't help, and then you specifically tie everything that it depends on the Creator. What does that mean? Well, because you see that nothing depends on you, like a baby that bursts out crying because he feels that everything depends on their adult. After investing forces and see that don't get an answer, and thus you reached the final despair. The question isn't, do I continue with this small bequest just to give everything and reach the edge? What do you mean to reach the edge? That you're not requesting anymore? No, on the contrary, I have only one request, and that is it. Then reach this final request, and probably afterwards you receive the response from the Creator. We're speaking about a complete state, a whole state. Can we define it? What does it mean? What is that state called? The whole state. Turkey. 1T, my friend, is asking, how can we reach internally the urgency of building connection like it's on our flesh? Only by connection in the group. Each one should help his friend, that you will envy one another, and thus help one another to reach the true big desire of everyone for the Creator. German 4. Question from a friend. What actions leads to an awakening from the low actions that we see that our will to receive doesn't get filled? Woman. Shalom from Toronto and PT6. They asked about Lishmer. What is Lishmer? What are the qualities of more for his sake is called on the attention to best that everything is directed through the friends to the Creator. The quality of Biner. Next one, it says that the organs disagree with this opinion, which organs can be in disagreement if both the desire and the actions are born out of the thought that the will to receive then doesn't let us be in agreement. In short, next didn't hear you see ask again. No, there's a problem. Is your microphone open? Have a problem again? No, we hear you. Next, number 1, it says entirely to bestow, not to receive anything. The question is how and what can a person bestow if he receives nothing? That try and see it's written about this taste and see that the Creator is good. 1, you related to a friend. It's question that to reach Lishma takes years, and to big soul it takes many years, and smaller soul it's faster. What is small soul and a great big soul? According to the basic desire that there is in that same soul, all the souls come from the soul of when this great desire called is divided into parts, then each and every one has what's called the root of the soul, the root of itself. How can we rid ourselves of the anger and the hate in order to raise a prayer from the heart? If the heart is busy with those Feeling slowly, gradually, we begin to understand that agree that there is no other path rather however the Creator leads us he knows what to do with us how to follow the power of being in the friends how to detect it. That we see how much each and every one invests in something, wakes up in the day or night performs some actions worries for the connection in the society and in this so we advance our friends in the 10 who participate really in the talks there. Barely active how do envy those friends nonetheless. I guess we don't understand how hard it is for them both because of their egoistic resistance and difficult for them because they have a lot of work at home and the work some difficulties and thus nonetheless after all these problems they at least something participate and thus we should be envy of them and something. It's all about the extent of the connection between us so we all connect to one vessel if you did everything you need to do. And then in this vessel you receive the revelation of their Creator entering Lishma means that you feel the body resist the connection with the friends. No, after the body resists we go forward more and we reach connection with the friends and with them with the Creator and in them with the Creator and then we attain Lishma. What is the connection between did everything within his power to do and aspire of his own strength? What's the difference? The difference is that's a preparation that he did everything it seems to him but didn't reach it yet and this that he reached it he already reached it. One is the preparation and one is the attainment. Me is walking on the path and opening of the Vitar SC from above until he can't stand it any longer. Walking the path includes two states, negative and positive. The both of them are needed in order to accumulate the forces of desire to accumulate and fill, accumulate and that's it, and that's the way we walk. Left, right, that's how we go forward. 6. How does a person feel? This is an awakening from above and not an egoistic fantasy. He is nothing what to check. Everything comes from above and the Creator is in everything. All right, let's continue. B. Excerpt number 3. Rash says feeling the vitality in the Torah requires great preparation to prepare his body to be able to feel the life in the Torah. This is why our sages said you must begin in Lishma and through the light of Torah obtains while still inish it will bring him to Lishma. Says the light in it reforms him, then he will be able to learn Lishma, meaning for the sake of the Torah, which is called Torah of life, the law of life, as he has already attained the life in the Torah. For the light in the Torah will have given such qualification to a person as to be able to feel the life that is in the Torah. When we advance and pray and request and want to attain to understand where we are and so on, we don't understand exactly where we are, rather in each state, in each place. We need to yearn from more, and to yearn from more we don't have from where to take their deficiencies and degrees and so on, rather only if we are tied with the friends, connected with the friends, and thus it's written envy, lust and honor. Yes, these three things. Envy less than honor, that everyone attains it only within our correct society, that envy, loss and honor save a personally draw him forward, pull them forward, and then by them he reaches the peak. Is that clear? All right. 1. We have the person and the Creator. Opposite to him, what does it teach in that state? The person in all his thoughts and desires feels that he is in connection with the Creator in heart and mind. How can I be one in place of to this, that all their thoughts and desires are similar? Morning our 10 work and to reach completion whole is in the Creator in the same circle. Nothing outside of it is this work. Lishmer, it's one of the external conditions of the work. Ofma, that's it too. Practical question we've gathered here in this time the morning lesson in order to connect with such commandments to learn to for this action to be aimed at bestow 100% every friend reached the state of for the sake of the friends, not to receive for himself. What does the Creator want to hear from us? The Creator wants us to check what state We are in our. We connected as one man in one heart as much as we understand for ourselves, and that we will ask of him. For it to happen, our connection will be whole as much as possible. According to the extent of wholeness in connection, he'll be able to fulfill us, because the light fills our vessels. Yes and please, yes, hello. Everyone, today you said that it should be like our work to envy the friend, to all to see them as great. So how to work in that? If there's feeling that you're like a pilot going to work and you can't elevate the plane, how can you work in that every day? This is because you are not together, so you want to rise. Alone doesn't work, only together. If you connect to the extent you connect, you're right. Entirely depends on our connection. We don't need to ask for ain't. We need to ask for connection, yes. So it's as if I'm asking to ask to rise with them, and I can't do it together. That's the point of fear. Of course, this is where the prayer needs to be. Yes, I'll. Okay, alright, Oren, do you have anything? The yes, I have a question. Okay, you too, in the third excerpt. It's written a few times to feel the life in the tower. What is that? Yes, that's called the upper light that shines upon us for our corrected vessels, and correct us fulfills it, etc. That is called the life of the Torah. Ability to feel the life. What is that? Ability. That ability is that a person is able to cause the fulfillment of one's spiritual vessels in intentions, in thoughts, in desires, in order to bestow the light that fills the vessel, is called Torah. Internet me ask. Sometimes a person exerts the effort that is required, but it doesn't succeed. Why? Is that he's not connected enough with their friends. PT. If the intellect understands we've done everything, and additional ideas don't benefit, what is missing? Only connection. What are the conditions that are required so that a person can reach despair from his own forces? You don't need to think of despair. Our goal cannot be to despair. Fact that we want to enter spirituality, to influence it, to connect, and then we see that we are not capable of doing that, and that leads us to despair. You cannot put ahead of us a negative goal. Never writes in his social articles that in order to see the good merits of the friends, I should first love them. Does that mean that before I develop love for them, I won't be able to envy them? You will be able to, but it's already different kind of envy. Moscow. One. Giving a conscious example can only be done when theirs can be done when you're in Lish. Yes, okay, what are we doing next? Move on to X number 4. Okay, Rash writes, one must receive the power to work more from the upper one, since the lower one is powerless to begin the work, but only in the form of Ish, not for her sake called will to receive, for only the Lishma gives the first moving force of the lower one. For when a person does not find sufficient flavor in corporal pleasures, he begins to search for spiritual pleasures. It follows that the root of the work of the lower one is the will to receive, and the prayer called man rises up, and then the upper one corrects this man, and places on it the power of the mass, which is a desire to delay the abundance before the low one knows about himself, that his aim is to bestow, that is the upper one bestows upon the lower one good taste and pleasure in the desire to bestow. That's written very nicely. Again, X number 4. One must receive the power to work more from the upper one, since the lower one is powerless to begin the work, but only in the form of Lishma, not for her sake called will to receive, for only the gives the first moving force of the lower one. For when a person does not find sufficient flavor in corporeal pleasures, he begins to search for spiritual pleasures. It follows that the root of the work of the lower one is the will to receive, and the prayer called man rises up, and then the upper one corrects this man and places on it the power of the the screen, which is a desire to delay the abundance before the lower one knows about himself, that his aim is to bestow, that is the upper one bestows upon the lower one taste and pleasure in the desire to bestow. Questions about this. We want the world to bestow. Why are Kabbalists against that? I don't understand what you're saying. We want a desire to bestow. According to the article and everything. We actually want it. Who wants it? You want it. Yes, if you still don't understand that. You only want to receive, then we need to wait a little more for you to advance and understand what your desires are. One writes here in an interesting way that the Creator gives the force of the screen, meaning the desire to hold the upper abundance, and then he says the upper gives the low one taste and pleasure from the world to bestow or flavor and screen the same. Yes, it's actually the same, but this is a physical force, this is an emotional phenomenon, but they are connected, they are related. What is an emotional phenomenon? I don't understand what you mean. You pay money and you receive, say, an ice cream. Yeah, that's an action, so in that action there is payment, which is the force of resistance, and the screen, and there is a transaction here that you receive something in return, and this is in every single action. Can screen is the payment. Yes. Yes, and the pleasure is a cream itself. Yes, but you want to enjoy acting within the screen, and not because you got the ice cream. What does that mean? That I enjoy, that I work with the screen, that by that you're giving pleasure to the Creator, by that you're giving pleasure to the Creator. I think I'm continuing lad's question. It's written that he wants to give, he raises man, and then he receives the screen before the lower one wants to bestow. So how does he get the screen if he doesn't yet want to bestow? How can the lower one bestow? It can only ask as if that it wants to bestow, but after it receives from above the answering of the prayer, then it understands what the will to bestow actually is already. Maybe we can read it slowly, and you can explain this. Yes, one must receive the power to work from the upper one. Intention power to work LMA one must receive from the upper one, since the lower one is powerless to begin the work in order to bestow, but only in the form of will, not for the Creator's sake, called will to receive for only, not for the Creator sake, gives the first moving force of the lower one, meaning he understands according to his natural vessels that it's worthwhile for him according to his will to receive, for where a person does not find sufficient flavour in corporeal pleasures, he begins to search for spiritual pleasures only. Then it follows that the root of the work of the lower one is the will to receive, and the prayer called man rises up, and then the upper one corrects this man and places on it power of the mass on this deficiency of the low one, which is a desire to delay the abundance before the lower one knows about himself that he aim is to bestow. That is, the upper one bestows upon the lower one good taste and pleasure in the desire to bestow. What's the question? When does the L1 know that he wants to bestow? He can say he wants to bestow. You can also say he wants to bestow, but we won't believe. You understand? The lower one asks to have strength to bestow, to have the desire to connect this abundance, and that is his prayer. It's prayer of not having it, of lacking it, so he doesn't have a desire to delay the abundance before the lower one knows about himself that his aim is to bestow. That is, the upper one bestows upon the lower one good taste and pleasure in the desire to bestow. In that case, the lower one can use the flavour of the upper one in bestowal, and then he can also start bestowing. You can say hold on, but again he's working because he has taste and pleasure, and that is right. He cannot work without taste and pleasure. He will to receive remains only. Now he has the ability to work with the desire that he now received from the upper one, from the will that he received from the upper one, and then he can bestow. You can say hold on, but it's as if he's working with the will to receive. Yes or no. Why not? Because previously he did it for himself. Now he does it for the upper one. So before he got a will to receive from the Creator, and now he got a will to bestow from the Creator. What's the difference? He was a partner. He was preparing the vessel along with the 10. Well, let's say okay, I agree with you for now is yes or. It says here then the upper one corrects this man. How can you explain that the Upper one corrects the manner of the lower one, because the lower one can never ask correctly precisely, and the upper one corrects its man in order to give this man to give this deficiency the spiritual fulfillment the lower one can't stabilize its man correctly. The light stabilizes the deficiency, and the lower one did not yet receive the light, so it raises something. See, it's like he cries like a baby, but the mother, she knows what he wants, and she give it, and she gives it to can. Thank you, USA. Knowest when we receive with the intent to bestow pleasure back to the greater, and you feel all of a sudden the pleasure in DS in yourself. How do you turn the perception of pleasure off? Because it starts to overwhelm you. You already have a calculation here that you are doing everything in order to bestow upon the Creator, and in order to bestow upon the Creator you need to depict the Creator as being in front of you, and you're doing it for Him, and only for that, for you wanting to give to Him. Then you take something from your will to receive, and you do the action in it in order to fulfill the Creator. In other words, to start with, you already take your will to receive from its hiding, you could say, in order to reveal it, because that bite you will be able to bestow. In other words, the intention in order to bestow, it rides, it dwells upon their action. Thank you. The upper one gives a feeling that I'm in best. He gives me a screen. Yes, PT 30. Thank you. So why doesn't the upper one correct my man? He correct your man. I don't have some attainment. I'm not even close to nothing. You're asking something else already. Of course you don't have attainment and bestow, but you raise a certain deficiency, and the upper one corrects that deficiency. But I'm supposed to receive something, some screen flavor, and bestow nothing. You are correcting your deficiency by turning to the Creator. When will I feel that I've received some flavor and bestow a screen, something fuel, something? When you will have the correct deficiency. Where our exer number 5 go ahead says, only after he achieves this degree called Lishmer, he is rewarded with other phenomena. When he comes to a higher state, that is at that time he is no consideration of himself, and all his calculations and thoughts are the truth. Hold on, that's unclear. Only after he achieves this degree called Lish, not for the Creator's sake, he's rewarded with other phenomena. When he comes to a higher state, that is at that time he has no consideration of himself, and all his calculations and thoughts are the truth. This is only in a state of not for the Creator's sake. In other words, reading, his aim is only to annul himself before the true reality, where he feels that he must only serve the King, because he feels the exaltedness and the greatness and the importance of the King. At that time he forgets, meaning he has no need to worry about himself, as his own self is annulled as a candle before a torch before the existence of the Creator. That he feels, then he is in a state of for her sake, meaning contentment to the Creator, and his concerns and yearnings are only about how he can delight the Creator, while his own existence, meaning the will to receive, does not merit a name whatsoever. Then he is regarded as bestowing in order to bestow. Well, what do we have here? Moscow 6. One of our friends is really not pleased when I'm asking question. He says I'm disturbing the tea, so they should ask someone else to ask questions. If someone's not happy, you need to select someone else. The fact that you want to ask it doesn't matter. I'm asking question again. You gave me an answer, but it's not so clear to me. You said that connecting to 10 and the Creator in that same circle, and to feel wholeness is not all. What are we lacking? What should we add to pass on this stage and to reach Lishmer, to help everyone, all their tens, and being part of the wholeness of the 10 of this circle, the field that the Lord has blessed, including the Creator? Isn't that being part of the 10? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. What do we do? Or in whatever you say. Where are we? 6. Yes, okay, 6. Rash, we should know that the degree of Lishma is a very important degree, and we haven't the intellect to appreciate the importance of Tur. Not for her sake said that as much as one may appreciate the work which is important work he should know that is more important than is more important, and the importance that a person attributes to, since one cannot properly assess the importance of observing, even although observing be okay well, for in the previous song exert he writes that he ans his existence that's called LMA, and then he is bestowing in order to bestow. I thought lishma is to receive in order to bestow. No, also bestow in order to bestow is called lishma. For the Creator's sake there is a state that nothing is received that's called bestow in order to bestow. Right then, to bestow in order, to receive in order to bestow, so is also to bestow in order to bestow, and also to receive in order to bestow. Yes, said of and g of or and is more accurate. B. What does it mean to attain the degree? Thus, lishma not for the Creator's sake is when we are on the path that we intend to work for the Creator's sake, meaning to be above our will to receive, to connect with the friends, the intention to bestow upon the Creator, but we are not yet there. We're on the path, sometimes more, sometimes less, but we have not yet reached a state that we are above our ego. Okay. H. Good morning. Why is being on the way, meaning being in lishma is more important than being in, because if a person has not reached at, also not for the Creator's sake while he's on the path, is something very important, and he can't even imagine how important it is. Please, only one who overcomes the rejection with faith above reason gives contentment to the Creator. Please, because then he's doing a true act of bestow, and lishma always accompany a person on his path. No, if a person reaches for the Creator's sake, he no longer needs the, of course he doesn't need it, he's already above that. When a person reaches for the Creator's sake, I heard, he feels the good that does good. Why do we need more work after that? He still has what to correct. Reaching is only reaching the condition that he rises above his will to receive, but now he needs to correct his will to receive. That is above him, meaning with the intention in order to bestow he starts using all of his desires, from the smallest possible desire to the biggest possible desire, until he uses his desire to the full extent, meaning what the Creator has created, and he does it in order to bestow. This means the good that does good is always renewing. The good that does good is the force of the Creator, and of course it's renewed to the extent that a person requires the forces of bestow. Thank use it. Okay, that's it. What are we doing? Or continue to the 7th EX, or go to the women's questions? We already had women today, yes, but it was a while ago. Okay, let's do 7. Exert number 7. Palam says 1 must know when exerting to attain, that to take upon himself, to want to work entirely to bestow, completely, meaning only to bestow and not to receive anything. Only then does one begin to see that the organs do not agree to this view. From this one can come to clear awareness that he has no other choice but to pour out his heart to the Creator to help him, so the body will agree to enslave itself to the Creator unconditionally, as he sees that he cannot persuade his body to annul itself. Complete. Exert 7 again. By one must know when exerting to attain, the take upon himself want to work entirely to bestow, completely, meaning only to bestow and not to receive anything. Only then does one begin to see that the organs do not agree to this view. From this one can come to clear awareness that he has no other choice but to pour out his heart to the Creator to help him, so the body will agree to enslave itself to the Creator unconditionally, as he sees that he cannot persuade his body to annul itself completely. See lot questions there. I see it sign that we have reached the end. So hello friends, we're continuing in the study of the 10, and we are going to implement everything we just heard about how to reach simply through the text that wrote, especially for that to bring us to the place where he is writing what he's Writing. We were on item 3, we'll read that twice and then we'll focus on the interpretation in item 50 that it's long but it's an opportunity to understand deeply what the middle point is that was restricted. So again, there's 4 phases of direct light after the 4 phases. There's the state before the restriction. What he explains in the first item then, he desired to restrict it, and now he's speaking about the restriction itself in item 40 that we read. Yesterday it's written that the light and the vessel were in simple unity to such an extent that there is no difference between them. Now he begins to explain how they are separated and how the vessel is built in stages. So we're reading the words of the in item 3 starts with the headline, the restriction of the light around the middle point number 3, then restricted himself in his middle point in the very middle, restricted that light and drifted to the sides around the middle point. And again item 3, the headline, the restriction of the light around the middle point number 3,